That was quick. Good night to whoever's in my live, or good evening. I guess it's 6 o'clock. It's so dark outside. Um, I start my lives the exact same way. I just want to introduce, I have been going live recently because I have been gang stalked in the recent past. I want to say in the recent past, I want to say for an entire year. I've gone through a very trying situation. And from that situation, I obviously have derived a completely new perspective on, I guess, just life in general, on how things go in this world, on how things operate. So I've been making lives and I've just been putting videos out on the different things that have kind of come to my attention, in the process of everything that I've been through. This video is going to be posted on YouTube so people can go back and they can see it. And then I'm going to post a link to the stories with a clip of the video and with a preview of what the video is about. Tonight, every night I say I'm going to keep it to 30 minutes, and it's within 30 minutes to an hour. But I want to keep it to 30 minutes. But this was on my chest to talk about. I want to talk about the lustful energy and spirit that I notice with people who are involved in drug culture. I've talked a lot about kind of the spiritual aspect of it. Just essentially, people don't even know, like, they're using spell work on them. Period, point blank. They are using spell work on people. And people don't know that, and people don't see that. And a lot of the reasons why they can get away with it is because people don't believe that. So I'm just kind of walking people through it because I have gone through this recruitment process for an entire year. And I think there are a lot of people with questions as to how comes I got out of it? How comes I escaped? How comes it took so long? How comes I walk free? How comes I talk the way that why do I speak the way that I speak with no fear and all of this? So if you're one of those people with the questions, my YouTube is available. If you don't want to, jump in the live because, anything to do with my Instagram or my WhatsApp, people don't want to be involved with because it's monitored and they know it is. There's a reason why there aren't people in my comments saying, oh, you're crazy, oh, this and that. No one wants to be involved because a lot of things have happened and a lot of people, unfortunately, are terrified of me. They were told I was a dark witch. They were told I was this and that. So it's like, I can understand why. But either way, I still feel very compelled to make content and put videos out about what my experiences have been because I feel like it's very, very important for people to just know this stuff. And I know that people are pissed off that I'm even talking about this stuff. But anyways, today, and this has been nagging me all day, like all day I've been being lazy about talking about this, but this is something I have to say. So one thing I noticed, and I've always noticed with men particularly who have anything to do with the drug trade at all, like anything, is that they're overly sexual, like to the point of sexual addiction. Now, it's funny because I was speaking to somebody else and he was the first one that alluded that to me, where I was saying something to him and then he said, and this is a friend, by the way, this is not someone that I had anything with or whatever, this is like a friend. And he was like, this person watches too much porn. And I was like, whoa, how did he know that? And I feel like, sorry, I keep pressing this because I want to see my timer. And I feel like that's the first sign of a sexual addiction is when you watch porn. Like, just randomly, like when you just always have it on your phone, like you always have, like you, it's like a fix that you need. That's the first thing. The second thing I notice is these guys always have a whole bunch of children. Like they are overly sexual. And I remember I had a female friend who was like that, and she also had a bunch of children, and it's like children by random people. So it's not even like children out of like a long-term relationship or anything like that. It'll just be like knowing somebody for 3 to 6 months and then you're pregnant. And that's for the women that I knew. Um for the guys, it's like they'll just meet somebody and knock somebody up in the airport and then hop on their plane. Like it's like craziness, right? It's like behavior that is in opposition to or in contradiction, not opposition, in contradiction to um the common sense that a human being is supposed to have. And that kind of behavior ruins your life. So I'll talk about my experience. I'll probably hop around a little bit, but I'll talk about my experience. So in the course of when all of this was going on, and the last time it happened in the very beginning. It stopped for a couple of months and it happened again. So what they do is you'll have a dream and some sort of, and it'll be a dream where something is seducing you that essentially wants to sleep with you in your dream. And in my particular situation, there was a couple different, I guess, sort of things that appeared. But one of them was like a he she kind of thing. It was like a female entity. It was like a female entity, but with like male genitalia. So there was that. Now, and every time it happens, I always pray before I go to sleep. I always, I have all the stuff that I do for myself. Um, so it's never worked. It's never worked. There are particular times where I can tell if it's a man or a woman doing it. So if it's a female that appeared in the situation where it was a female that appeared with male genitalia, it tried more than once. But I don't think it was a woman. I think it was a man. It was an actual man that has a lot of female energy or that cloaked in female energy. That's what I think. And then there was another time where it was a woman, an old woman, and that's more recent. There was one time it was an old woman who tried. And there was another time where someone cloaked in the energy of an ex that I'm not even attracted to. That's the craziest part. Like on any level, no attraction there whatsoever. Um, and so it's just that sort of thing that happens. And I feel like, and first of all, it's like, Africans and West Indians, we always say like, don't eat in your dream, don't sleep with anything in your dream. Like these are not things that you want to do because we always feel like those kinds of things are spiritual attacks that are happening. So, I'm putting the content out there. I'm putting the video out there. I'm going to put a nice description on my YouTube. I know, I'm not going to say I believe. I know that men involved in drug culture have had these dreams. Now, I believe that these dreams are probably reoccurring because I don't think one time alone is enough. So I think one way to attach, and it's like a demon that they attach. It's called the succubus incubus demon. I just looked it up. I think succubus is a female version and incubus is the male version. So depending on who you are, that's which one comes. Excuse me. Now, anybody who's had a dream that they've slept with some weird creature or whatever, that's already a cause for alarm. But I think, and they do this in your sleep because that's when you're weakest. That's when your guards are down. That's why they want to do it. They kind of also to time for women, they time when you're menstruating. They always want to know when you're menstruating so they can time it, so they can time when you're more likely to be aroused or when you're more likely to be open to that behavior. I know in my situation they did. But they always want to attach these energies to people. They always do. And on top of all of that, it's also like you can get this from also just being intimate with someone that has it attached to them. So it's like they'll always kind of send people towards you. They'll always send people, to want to sleep with you. They'll send people to try to be in relationships with you or whatever. And these things attach to you. And now you're walking around with these entities on you. And I believe that they do this prior to them sort of taking a hold of your vessel or taking a hold of or attaching other spirits. I feel like the incubus succubus spirits make it easier for you to have attachments of other spirits, because once you begin to be sexually wild, because once you begin to be extremely lustful, and then you start being wild and you're being lustful with other people, then you can pick up other things that other people have. You're really just like, you're open at that point. Because so I looked it up. These two energies, apparently they steal energy. These are demonic entities. These are demonic attachments. They steal energy from you. I already went over the fact that it either can come through a dream or you sleeping with someone. And the fact that they cloak in other people's energy. So if they can't get you just randomly, it'll probably come in the energy of someone you know. So you might have a dream that you slept with an ex or your current partner or somebody that they know that you're attracted to. It'll come in kind of that form. They'll kind of cloak in that energy and come towards you. Now the thing about it, I'll tell you, I saw so many examples of this in my 1 year of walking through these people's world, is what I will say. Literally walking through the valley of the shadow of death is how I see it. I'll give an example. In my subdivision, the guy who is like the sort of the handyman in the neighborhood, I've met him before. Completely normal relationship. Nothing worthy of remembering. I met him, asked questions. Hey, I need help on this and that, blah, blah, blah. He's come, he's done his job, and he's left. Then I want to say this year, he came to my home and he was a different person. It was all these sexual jokes to my face. It was like he couldn't think straight. Like he couldn't focus on the job that he came to do. And I remember he said something to me at my door, and I'm not going to go into specifics. He said something to me at my door before he left. He came to fix, I can't remember, a number of issues. And before he left, he said something, and I looked at him and I said, no. And he looked so embarrassed of himself. And he stood there and he was embarrassed, and there was a look of shame, and he has never been able to look me in my eyes after that. Like, it's a situation where, like, we both kind of avoid each other because I'm embarrassed for him. I was mortified when I closed the door. That's one situation. Now, prior to that, I kind of didn't, and there was another repair that had to be done, and I just canceled the repair. I just got it done myself. I hired someone else because I didn't want him in my home because I didn't know what was attached to him. But I could tell that this is not the normal person that I met. This is not the original person that I met. I know that much. Now, these people have been going in and out of my house, and they need a key, because the kind of key to our doors is just not like normal keys. Like, they need a key or they need access of some sort. And I feel like they send these energies to people prior to them approaching people to make it easier to kind of get their way. I definitely feel like this gang sleeps around to get things from people. So it's like, if they have to go and ask for the key, they're going to send a woman to do it after this person has this energy on them, and she's going to take advantage of this person. That is my hypothesis. That is what I think. Whoever's listening to this video, it is your prerogative to trace back events of your life and things that have happened and ask yourself, have I been taken advantage of by people using sex against me? And be honest with yourself. So that's one example. There was another example where, let me think of this one actually, because my brain just went blank for a bit. Oh, ooh. This is a good example. So there was a stylist who came to my store. Um, I had invited him over to my store because I wanted to interview people in kind of the fashion sort of space in Toronto. I wanted to talk about kind of like their journey. I wanted to talk about, because we have a clothing store, and I wanted to talk about like, okay, well, you're a stylist. What have you done? Blah, 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 whatever the case is. I don't know what this filter is. This is so annoying. Anyway, um, so I invited this guy over to our store, and then he said, he was nervous, he was cautious of me, and he said, prior to doing anything, I need to meet with you first, and I just need to talk to you. So he comes, we have a conversation. At this time, he's still normal. He comes, we have a conversation. He's very guarded. He's very guarded towards me. He's asking a lot of questions. He just wants to understand like what's going on, like what I need from him, whatever. And I recognized his behavior because that is the behavior of someone being gang stalked. That is the behavior of someone who realizes that things are not normal in their world. And it's very fresh. It's very new. It's in the beginning. So it's like you're still moving forward with your life, but you're very cautious. So he comes, and after what I assume is him interviewing me, and I understood why he was doing it because I was also being gang stalked. So he felt comfortable, and he said, okay, no problem. And he was like, listen, actually at that first meeting, he wasn't prepared to go on live. And I said, we're just going to do a joint live, and I'm going to just interview you and whatever. And it's a little series that I'm working on. He was not happy. Like he wasn't, no, I wouldn't say happy, but he wasn't 100% on board. He's like, listen, I don't really go on live. This is not something I do, but I'll think about it. I'll see for your sake. By the time, I can't remember how much time went by between when he first came to my store and then when he came back. But by the time he came back, he was a different person. He was no longer guarded. He was very, I don't want to say pushy, but very forward, very flirting, very heavily, just like in my face. So much so that I couldn't post the second half of the live because I was like, listen, this is really embarrassing. Like, this is embarrassing for you. You were really flirting. I was reviewing the video. Thank God I reviewed it before I posted it. And I was like, what was most embarrassing? It's like, picture a situation where someone is being so overt. And, my daughter was in the store. So she was sitting like across from us, and she was like looking at us on live. And on top of that, we were on a joint live. So his followers were watching, and so were mine. And I remember he made a comment that was essentially like, I was talking about vacation wear, like how you would style someone for vacation. And I was talking about a kaftan, and he was like, would you wear that with nothing under? And I was like, what? And I'm like, I paused and I was like, no, what the hell are you talking about? And then there was another time by the end of the video, he kept talking about like, would you go on vacation with me? I'll take you to Italy and this and that. And I'm like, I've only met you twice. And the first time I met you, you were completely scared of me. And now you're like talking about going on vacation and whatever. And that's the thing too, is like how I used to be was just the person who like, especially if I'm embarrassed for someone or someone is like embarrassing themselves, I'm not going to make it worse by calling them out. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I'm just wondering if this guy is like catching himself, like the things that he's saying. And I know that he didn't watch that video after. Well, I don't know that he didn't, but I'm gonna bet that he didn't want to watch that video after because he made a fool of himself. And it's embarrassing. And it's like one of the many ways how when you have these attachments, he's one that I knew when he came back, he had an attachment on him, guaranteed. He 100% had an attachment on him. He had an attachment on him. Someone approached him and he was very pushy. It was always like, oh, can we go get a coffee? Can we go get a drink? Can we go do this? And it was like, no. It was like, you have to almost like fight to get out of this person's energy. Like, no, I'm not interested. Like, I almost snapped on him. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's almost like it was to the point where I had to almost just, you see, that's the thing. When these people come around me, it's like, I know who you are. You know who I am. You're pretending like you don't know who I am and this is a random encounter. I'm also pretending like I don't know who you are. But if you push me far enough, I'll just start talking straight up. Because since we're all pretending, I'll just start talking straight up and be like, listen, you gotta be careful. You gotta not come around me. You gotta not do the stuff that you're doing. Like, this is not okay. Whoever sent you here doesn't care about you at all. You're like a human shield to them. They do not care. They just have a mission. They don't care who they hurt. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's like, once these energies attach to you, this overly sexual demonic entity attaches to you, it begins to ruin your life. And that is right where they want you. They want your life ruined. That's when you start having a whole bunch of kids with prostitute women. Even if this woman does not formally get up every day and sit in a hotel, her whole means of supporting herself is literally through using men. That is a prostitute. Period. Their reasons for dating men is to get money out of them. And I feel like these are the women that keep them in place. As soon as they want to make a move or something has to happen, here comes 6, 7 women at the same time stressing you out. Having one crazy woman or one crazy ex who you have kids with is bad enough. Now imagine having like 5 or 6. And you'll recognize these men because it's like, these are men that don't just have like 2 or 3 kids. They have like 8, 9 children. And I know more than one person who's like this. They have like 8, 9 kids. All of them by a different woman. It's never like I've settled down and have multiple kids with multiple women. Multiple kids, multiple women, and every single woman now at the same time is taking them to court. Every single one. There was somebody else that I realized got recruited to be a drug mule as well. There was somebody else. There's somebody from my past. And I know him through his ex, who he was with, who he was dating. And they were together and they had a decent life. They were building a life together and he started trucking. So he started being a truck driver. And I remember when there were things that happened to him that I remember him kind of mentioning, but he never went into detail, that were kind of parallel to like my experience. So for example, it's just the way he was talking. He always seemed like he was running from something. I remember when he started having a lot of money, but then again, he got very sexual. He was doing things that were crazy. And I remember he essentially slept with they weren't formally married, but I'm going to call her his wife because of how long they'd been together, lived together. He slept with her best friend. The kids started popping up out of nowhere, out of like all over the place. And then, yeah, his life just went to hell. Everything just was like upside down after that. They broke up. She took him to court. It was a mess. It was a constant mess. There was constant fighting. And I feel like that's what happens. And I feel like because these things are being manipulated around people, they don't even see that their life is now orchestrated chaos. Like, it is orchestrated chaos. And it's on purpose. It's like they set people up to have children with people that they normally would not have kids with out of moments of lust. They put people in these positions and it's like before you know it, you're getting a divorce because you cheated on your wife. Like, you come in, you were married to somebody who was normal, and now all of a sudden you cheated. And it's like now you can never have a proper relationship. You can never hold down a good relationship because you're always cheating on the person that you're with. You're always doing things. You're extremely lustful. You're untrustworthy. And it's not just like cheating, but you're having children outside of your relationship. Like, you're knocking people up. It's like all of this craziness continues to happen in your life, and people don't actually realize, like, this is actually orchestrated. It's all orchestrated. I've seen it happen personally in my ex's life. And every single one of, and this is not just one person, this is multiple men. Every single one of these women, you sit down and you're like, would you normally go for somebody like this? Or like, was this an accident or what happened? Because this person is not normal. Like, some of these women, it's like they're in a relationship already with somebody else. And I don't know if someone pays them to, it's ridiculous. But anyways, um, in my particular situation, I should say, I feel like they try to do the same thing to me. And it's funny because there was a reader who I liked watching her readings. And I remember shortly after one of the episodes happened where I had that kind of dream where something was trying to sleep with me in my dream, she goes, oh, they want to know why you have like no sort of attraction to anyone. Maybe something happened in your childhood. Maybe you were raped in the past. But here's how to heal it. 5 seconds into that, I cut that video off. I stopped that from going through. I've never watched her ever since. I continue to click not interested on her videos. Her videos keep popping up. Obviously, there's something she wants to say to me or some message she wants to get across. Not interested. It's like, how can I control this person? How can I get control? How can I get this person to ruin their image on their own? How can I get this person to, because if you remain a virtuous person, if you remain someone who they can't get reliable witnesses to say, I slept with this person is, loose sexually, this person did this or that. If they can't get anyone to do that, it's like, that's what happens. And I've said in other videos before that I've always felt as if when I've met people that have been a part of this and I ask them, are you married? Are you in a relationship? When they tell me that they're not in a relationship or they're divorced, it's always a look of shame. And no, and in life you meet people and you say, oh, are you married? Or are you divorced? Or are you this or that? And if they tell you that they're divorced or they're broken up, it's usually followed by a story. Because there's something that's happened, they feel wronged. Now, both parties in the relationship are going to feel wronged in some way. But a normal person will be like, I'm divorced, he did this, or she did this, or this happened. And it's like there's some sort of animosity that they're carrying. But always in these situations, it's not any animosity that anybody's carrying. It's guilt. It's literally a look of shame. It's like, not only well, for me, am I feeling intuitively that this person knows that they were responsible for the breakup, but it's almost like in a way that they can't deny, in a way that they can't like finagle themselves out of, they can't talk themselves out of it. And I've always assumed it's like that's how it is when it's the cheating party that tells you that they're divorced or that they're broken up. So anyway, this is my message for tonight. I think this is as much as I can go into it because I don't have a very thorough knowledge of, there have been all these rumors, that have gone on about me and whatnot. I don't have a very thorough knowledge of how this is. But I know, there's one part that I do want to add to this video. But I know that there's something weird going on with sexual energy, and they've tried it with me multiple times. I think the last time that they tried this was around Halloween this year. So like late October. That was the last time that they really tried working on me. And it was a particular weekend. I think it was a full moon weekend. It was either Halloween, it was like not the last full moon, but the full moon before that. So yeah, it might have been October that this all happened, was the last time that it happened, but it's been happening. And it's something that, I've constantly protected myself from, because when you're sleeping, you're very spiritually vulnerable. And when you have dreams and certain things happen in your dreams, it's not by coincidence, it's not by accident, especially when it's a vivid dream that feels like a vision. I definitely feel like there's something to that. But this is what I wanted to add to everything that I'm saying. If you feel like you have this lustful energy on you, the easiest way to get it off is you need to be completely celibate, 100% celibate. Even if you're married, even if you're in a relationship, you need to completely starve this energy altogether. This is something that you can't leave in your life, because you know what? It starts with it's like this overt, it's like I was saying in the beginning of this video, it's like this lustful energy. You always want to watch porn. Now you're masturbating all the time. Now you're out like seeking partners and whatever. And I feel like that's a lot of what happens in our culture now, is like people get on the internet, they get on these dating sites and they go look for someone to sleep with. People get in these situations and it's like, they're dating and it's just, how would I say it? Almost like scratch, like, how do I say it? Scratch this itch, I guess you could say. And I just feel like I don't feel like it does destroy your life. You end up getting people pregnant on your workplace. You end up getting fired at your job because you're sleeping with people at your work. Like, you end up doing a whole bunch of stuff and like your life comes crumbling down. And we've seen this in the media before, where it's like famous men, rich men, where all of a sudden it's like, they're getting a divorce. They have this huge empire. The empire is falling apart. Now, it's like they have to step down from their business, from like, and they can't be in a management role anymore, at least in the public eye. It's like, this is how they destroy your life. This is one of the ways in which they destroy your life. If you have a stable foundation and they can't get in any other way, this is what they're going to do. And a lot of the times people are approached, and I'm talking about Toronto in particular because I live in Toronto. People are approached to monitor people, to be friends with people, to push people in a particular direction, to influence people to do things by these gangs. These are gang stalkers. These are life destroyers. These are people that people hire to destroy people's lives. And before you know what's happening, these are the things that are happening to you. So, back to how do you get rid of this energy on you? You need to be completely celibate. You need to be praying before you go to bed, because they're going to try to reattach it. It takes a while to detach from your body. You need to not be watching porn, and you definitely need not to be masturbating. Zero sexual energy, contact, anything. No semantics about it either. No, oh, well, I didn't sleep with someone, I was just watching it. No, nothing. Nothing at all. And that's a difficult thing, to take control of your lust, because knowing that this is the reason that your life is where it is, or things are happening to you, it's essential that you understand that a sexual addiction is the same as any other addiction. It's like an addiction to drugs. It's like an addiction to anything else. And that's something that people need to take control of. That's something that people need to release off of themselves. You cannot live with that on you. You're not going to have a prosperous life. You can't have a good relationship. It's much more than just like being lustful. It's like having a constant need. It's like a hunger. It's like literally like a hunger. It's like all the time. And it's like you can't focus in situations where it's like someone's talking to you and having a conversation and you're not focused. And women see that on you and they're going to take advantage of that behavior. Other men can take advantage of that behavior by sending people towards you. It's like something that's well known that people do. So anyway, that is the bulk of my video. I'm going to post it to YouTube. I think this is one of my more essential videos that people should listen to. I think if people really think about it, I've seen both men and women like this. I see women that their lives been turned upside down, and they find themselves in situations where it's like they're in prostitution, they're being trafficked, and they think that they're getting something out of it by being in that energy. It's just spiritual abuse. It's people taking advantage of people. And unfortunately, there are people who can't protect themselves because they don't believe in God. They don't believe in anything. They don't have protection, and they don't know themselves. We're all spiritual beings at the end of the day. You just need to tap into that energy. You need to tap into that side of you. And it's very difficult for spirits of light to help you when you have these energies on you. So, I'm sure we're going to find out about a lot of things that have happened in the city because of this sort of energy that people have on them. I think people have been spreading a lot of STDs. I think there have been a lot of unplanned children people don't want. I think there's a lot of things that have happened. And I think all of these things are going to start unfolding next year, 2024. We're going to hear about a lot of things. Yeah, but putting it out here, this was something that I had on my heart to talk about. For me, it's an uncomfortable situation, or an uncomfortable topic, not because there's anything wrong with speaking about sexuality, but, it's one that's close to my heart, I'll say. So yeah, that's it. I will post this video and then post a link to it. And then, yeah, so if anybody has any questions, comments, please do so on the YouTube video. If you do watch it, I don't take DMs. We're not taking DMs at the moment, and probably not for a while. We're not. But yeah, this is a really interesting topic. So, hi love, you came in at the end of my video. This was a good one too, but I'll be posting it to YouTube. Yeah, this one's only like 30 something minutes. So, but yeah, this is one that you might want to listen to. Just kind of my experience with this kind of stuff. So I'm ending my video. People always come at the end of the video. I'm ending my video. Have a great evening and happy Christmas Eve.